AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Saints get a win. Brian Kelly has the Tigers back at work. Peter Burns in 1 hour. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Special day for two people. Kellen Moore gets his victory, but Spencer Rattler gets victory after 0 for 10 as a starter, 0 for 11 overall. Can't be more happy for both of those guys. Saints win it 26-14.
Mike Hollis on the call on the New Orleans Saints radio network as the Hoodats finally break through, get in the win column. 26-14, the Saints beat the G-Men there in the Dome. And there were a lot of notables there. It was very nice to see Kellen Moore get his first win as a head coach. It was nice to see Spencer Rattler get his first win as starting quarterback of the Saints after an 0 for 10 start. That was the first win overall for the Saints since December the 8th, incidentally, at the Giants. It was the first win in the Superdome since November 17th of last year against Cleveland. And maybe most improbably, that was the first win by a Saints quarterback draft pick since Danny Werfel in 1998. The last time a quarterback drafted by the New Orleans Saints won a football game. Danny Werfel in 1998, Spencer Rattler, 2025. Incredible. I got some observations about the game itself I'd like to dive into. It's hard to start anywhere other than the defense turning the Giants over on 5 consecutive possessions. You want to win football games in the NFL? Turn your opponent over 5 times. Successfully. That will, successively, I should say. That'll do it an awful lot of the time. After Giants went touchdown, they went punt, fumble, return for a touchdown, interception. Then they turned it over on downs to end the game. And maybe most importantly, with all the turnovers, is the fact that it was some of your young guys. Now, the super important one was Demario Davis with the strip. But you had Brian Brzee with a forced fumble. You had obviously Jordan Howden with the scoop and score. You had Jonas Sanker with a fumble recovery as well. And you had Kool-Aid McKinstry with 2 interceptions. One of the things we've sort of consistently said throughout this preseason and into the first month of this season is I'm less concerned with the wins and losses and what that looks like, because if we're being perfectly honest, the wins are going to be few and far between for this New Orleans Saints team. I'm more interested in seeing this team continue to grow and develop its young talent. And that is, I think, paramount. And when you look at key moments in this game, young players were at the center of a lot of those moments. And that's great to see. Not only young players, but young guys that use draft picks on were at the center of those moments. That was great to see. It wasn't all great. You did have some issues, and special teams continues to be really a bit of a bugaboo on this team. And remember, Darren Rizzi was the special teams guru forever for the Saints. They were quite good on special teams for a long time. Rizzi was your interim coach. Obviously wasn't retained. They promoted Phil Galliano, and that's been a disaster. The opening kickoff, you were down at the 9-yard line. The second kickoff, Velus Jones took the knee going into the end zone, so the ball came out to the 20. Kendre Miller returned, went out to the 16. I mean, your starting field position was atrocious because you kept getting punked on special teams. You had a 32-yard punt in the fourth quarter where you chose not to go for it on a 4th and 1, up 2 scores, which was the right call, by the way. You don't want to miss and give them a short field the opportunity to get back in it. You want to make them drive the length of the field. When they keep turning the ball over, and they hadn't scored since the first quarter. And you shank a 32-yard punt. You missed 2 field goals, which Blake Grupe now is 10 of 15 on the season. How he's still employed today, I don't know. That's the harsh reality. You can like him because of the funny story about him looking young and the security thinking that he was a fan, not realizing he was a player. All that's fine and good, and that he was great in camp. He's at 66% on the season. NFL kickers, you want to be north of 80%. He's at 66. He's 10 of 15. He's missed 5 kicks. He missed 2 yesterday. You played 5 games. He's missed 5 kicks. Like, you can't miss on an average of 1 a game. And he's doing that right now, which is atrocious. It's costing you. It cost you an opportunity to win the first 2 weeks. And you do have some other mistakes that are continuing. Listen, Rashid Shaheed had an offside penalty. Alvin Kamara had a terrible drop when you're trying to drive for a touchdown. You had a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line, and Torricelli Simpkins false started, and you ended up kicking a field goal because you got behind the sticks. You had the 2 missed field goals that I mentioned. So it's far from perfect. And that's obviously why this isn't a very good team. But you can see them making progress, and it's kind of like, you'll get this visual as I explain it. You know, like sometimes in cartoons there's a leak in a wall, and so you use their finger to sort of plug the leak, and then another leak sprouts in another spot. And so then you try to plug that one, and another leak sprouts in another. That's kind of the Saints. They keep addressing these issues right now, moment by moment, one by one, but other issues are popping up. You still had, look, you thought a week ago you'd fix your penalty issue. After double-digit penalties, only 4 last week against Buffalo. Well, in the first half of this game, penalties became an issue again. A key pass interference against Kool-Aid McKinstry allowed New York to continue their opening drive, which they ultimately scored on. I just mentioned you were 1st and goal from the 7, a false start put you behind the sticks. So you're still having some of those moments. But you're continuing to improve in other ways as well. The Saints are protecting the football. It was nice to put together drives in this ball game and to build a lead and to maintain it. So your defense pitched a shutout in the second half, which was great to see. So you are in areas improving, but you still have a lot of work to do. Kool-Aid McKinstry came away with 2 interceptions. And that's going to look good on the stat sheet, but if we're being completely candid, the first interception was a bad decision to catch that football. I mean, he didn't make a great play. It was a punt, effectively. And he caught it and went out of bounds at the 5-yard line, whereas if he knocks it down, you get the ball at the 40. And the one later in the game was just an atrocious throw as Dart was trying to salvage something. He threw it over the middle. Acrobatic catch by McKinstry, but it wasn't like he was in great coverage. And he had the PI, and he got Big Boyd on the touchdown, where he basically got pushed to the ground by a big dude. So there's a lot of room for growth across the board. But nice to see the offensive line not give up a sack against arguably the best defensive front in football, which we knew was going to be just a key part of this game, to not let that Giants defensive front wreck you. Kendre Miller looks reborn. He looks like a brand new player in this offense, as opposed to all of the issues they had in the Dennis Allen era, where Allen was saying, in camp, you can't make the team if you're in the training room. And there was so much angst there from both those sides. But you can continue to check boxes of things that are improving and players that are playing well that you can continue to build toward. So now the Saints will look forward to welcoming in the Giants. After beating the Giants, welcoming in the Patriots, who we talked about last week was one of the really intriguing teams in the NFL because they were 2-2, but their wins had come against Carolina and Miami. They lost to the Raiders and to Pittsburgh. So you wondered how good they were. Well, they went on Sunday Night Football to Buffalo and beat the Bills. Now the Patriots come to New Orleans. It's a great opportunity for the Saints to try to piece together another win here, try to win back-to-back games, which is something that, obviously I don't know there's going to be many of those opportunities this year for these New Orleans Saints to do that. And when you look, at when the last time they won back-to-back games, you'd have to go, back to the beginning of the season a year ago when they started the season 2-0, and then in weeks 10 and 11 they beat Atlanta and Cleveland in the Dome. Before then they would go on to lose 5 of their last 6. So an opportunity to win back-to-back games for the first time since November 10th and 17th, weeks 10 and 11 a year ago, and we'll see if they can do it. But Saints get on the board. They beat the Giants. Kellen Moore gets his first win. Spencer Rattler gets his first win, which is great to see, 26-14. And because everybody likes to criticize when we get things wrong, and we deserve it, how about your boy? I picked the score 26-16. I was tap dancing all over it. How about that, huh? Yeah. Okay, I'll take it.
That's strong. Yeah, man. Here, give you a ding there.
I'll take it. It's proof. It's on the internet. This is on the internet and something that actually did happen. And you can believe that I did actually say it. It was not AI. It was not an AI-generated me after the game use. It happened before.
On Friday, as a matter of
Friday.
fact.
Yes, on Friday before the game. All right, Saints win. LSU on the bye. Now the Tigers will get ready for South Carolina. Brian Kelly on Monday met with reporters to kind of give an injury update and start previewing that game. We are brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with great taste of Bud Light. The official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of your New Orleans Saints, and the official beer of AFR. So if you're already planning your tailgate or your game watch for this coming weekend, be it Saturday out at Tiger Stadium for a Saturday night game against South Carolina or next Sunday in the Dome with the New England Patriots coming in, make sure that you hit your favorite retailer and grab plenty of ice-cold Bud Light in the officially licensed New Orleans Saints cans or the officially licensed LSU cans with that awesome Tiger head logo, the white can and 16-ounce aluminum bottle, all a hat tip to LSU's tradition of wearing white jerseys at home. You can pick it up at great local retailers anywhere that you're going to buy beer. It's Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break. As we mentioned, Brian Kelly met with reporters, started to get to preview the South Carolina game, and most notably updated a handful of injuries to key players. We'll let you know how all that's going when we come back here on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Of course, the Renaissance Baton Rouge is right there on Bluebonnet near I-10. And this Friday, that's where your Fighting Tigers of LSU will be setting up shop, because Friday before every LSU home game, LSU football ops moves into Renaissance Baton Rouge. Of course, they're not going to stay on campus the night before a home game. So they go somewhere where they can have their team together, away from the madness of it all, and continue to prepare. And Renaissance Baton Rouge is perfect for that, which is why I always like to tell you, no matter what event you have coming up, Renaissance Baton Rouge is perfect to host your next event. As a matter of fact, I'll be at an event this Thursday for KKDL, Carnival Crew Day Louisiana, which is a fundraising Mardi Gras ball, charitable Mardi Gras ball. I'll be at that event Thursday at Renaissance Baton Rouge. So if it's a fundraiser, if it's an awards banquet, if it's some type of dance, a wedding reception, they can host you there at Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
I'm glad you're hanging with us on this Monday from the Raising Cane studio. We always appreciate Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. A ton to do. Peter Burns will be here in about 45 minutes at the top of hour 2. It always seems to pass, doesn't it? Whenever you have the sort of slow, sleepy weekends, you end up with some crazy upsets, and that happened. Florida clipping Texas. Penn State losing at UCLA, which is almost unfathomable. But the preseason number 1 and 2 teams in college football, Texas and Penn State, now their playoff hopes are on life support the first weekend in October. Crazy. We'll get into all of it with Peter Burns coming up here in about 45 minutes from right now. Tigers turn the page to South Carolina, and couldn't come soon enough because losing sucks. Losing going into your open date really sucks because then you just chew on that loss for 2 weeks. Had LSU been preparing for another game this past weekend, yes, everyone would have complained about the loss on Monday, probably would have bled into Tuesday, but by the time you would have got to midweek, it would have been full throttle toward the game that Saturday. But we ended up really just divulging into this this conversation about LSU and the offense and what ails it. And I think so many people over the course of a week have compounded the issues to forget the fact that LSU right now, after some upsets, is up to 11th in the country. They're 4-1. You beat Clemson, and say what you will about Clemson, you were still an underdog in that game. So you split 2 games as an underdog, and you're going to be favored in your next 3. And if you win those and you end up going into your second open date before November, you'll have 4 games to play. You'll be favored heavily at home against Kentucky and against Arkansas and Western Kentucky. And you'll have road games against Bama and Oklahoma. And if you split those 2, you're 10-2 and you're in the playoff. Now, you may laugh and roll your eyes and say LSU can't take anything for granted. I agree with you. If they go play the way they did against Ole Miss, they'll get beat again multiple times. It'll be a really disappointing season. But you're still sitting there right now at 4-1. You're ranked 11th in the country, and everything is still in front of you. So let's see if they're healthy coming out of the bye and how they may look this week with South Carolina coming in. And, of course, the questions had to start with the health of a lot of key players, and that was what Brian Kelly clarified on Monday.
I think Weston is a go. Caden is a go. Nuss is a go. Paul is questionable, and Anderson is a probable.
Obviously, a few things there. Nuss is going to be at the center of everyone's conversation, but also the injuries on the offensive line. So Weston Davis, your starting right tackle, is a go. Garrett Nussmeier's a go. Caden Durham's a go. That's awesome. Paul Mabenga, questionable. Aaron Anderson, probable. So, listen, when you're 121st in the country and running the football, having your starting running back and potentially 2 starters on the offensive line returning, it would stand to reason that that's going to help you. It would only be a positive having those guys back. But everybody wants to talk about Nussmeier. And it's one of the things that Brian Kelly said, remember, after Florida, was that they were going to shut him down. Remember, this was not new. After Florida, that Monday after Florida, Brian Kelly said they were going to shut Nuss down during the open date, and that only then would he be able to get fully healthy. Well, Kelly elaborated a bit more on shutting Nuss down here in this bye week. It's 12.
He's feeling better and better. We didn't do a lot with him last week. We wanted to use that as a recovery week for him. Obviously he did a lot with VR. He stayed involved in everything that we're doing, run game checks, splits checks, things of that nature. But we just cut him down from, the throwing. And obviously we're going to go out today. We'll get a bonus day in terms of being able to practice today. So our expectations after talking to him is he feels good and he's ready to go.
So I know at this point through 5 games, if you are doubting Nussmeier's health, nothing Brian Kelly or anyone says is going to convince you otherwise. You're going to have to see it. That's fine. I'm not here to convince. This thing has been litigated plenty publicly. I'm not going to convince you of anything. But Kelly effectively said, look, they shut him down. He didn't throw during the open date to let him heal. Hopefully more and more. Did a lot with VR. Went through the mental reps. So let's see how healthy from 2 weeks from Ole Miss to South Carolina, how healthy he can be and how much more efficient, effective this offense can be. One more, Kelly was asked to follow up about what exactly Nuss was doing.
Yeah, Nuss was involved in the entire practice. We just didn't have him throw. He threw with a towel, which is just getting the motions and keeping the arm ready. But he did essentially all of the mental work for what we had for the days on the field.
So that's the good news, okay? So Nuss, what everybody wanted to hear. They shut him down for the week, went through the mental reps, should be good, physically ready to go. My assertion all along has been the sluggish offense is less about Garrett Nussmeier being injured to whatever degree Not here to litigate that again. It's been more the fact that your offensive line has been so poor. Brian Kelly said it. You saw 86% drop 8 against Ole Miss. 86% of their snaps, Ole Miss dropped 8 into coverage, rush 3. You still couldn't run the ball, didn't try to run the ball, and you couldn't protect Garrett Nussmeier. They're getting pressure with 3. They're dropping 8 into coverage. Like, that's a problem. Your offensive line has to be better. And Brian Kelly talked about, I thought the most interesting thing here with respect to these injuries is what they may do. Because, remember, Weston Davis missed the Ole Miss game. He was concussed in pregame, so Karius Kern starts at right tackle. You didn't have DJ Chester. Remember, he was suspended for the first half of the game. And then you lose Paul Mabenga mid-game, or in the third quarter, due to the ankle sprain, and Cohen Eccles played the rest of the game at left guard. So Chester didn't go in. You ended up playing true freshman Kern and redshirt freshman Eccles at right guard and left tackle, respectively, for the remainder of the game. Now, Karius Kern played really well. He was your second highest graded offensive lineman for the game against Ole Miss. And Brian Kelly was asked if there's competition now it's 18. If Weston Davis coming back, if there's competition there with Kern.
You know, Weston Davis obviously couldn't play in the Ole Miss game, but look, he's got some snaps underneath him. Karius is there. If Weston needs a blow, we can also look at Karius inside at the guard position now that, Paul is banged up. So we've got some flexibility with Karius to move him into the guard position or the tackle position.
Now that part right there, the end of that is the most important part, where Brian Kelly says we have flexibility to move Karius into the guard position or at tackle. Remember, we have not seen Karius Kern play guard up until this point. Every snap he has taken has been at tackle. Remember, all throughout camp, he was working as the number 2 left tackle behind Tyree Adams. 12 days before the opener, we saw him taking reps with the ones at right tackle in place of Weston Davis. Weston Davis gets concussed, isn't available. DJ Chester not available for the first half. Kern starts at right tackle. Also, remember, and I asked Brian Kelly this, whenever the second half begins and Chester's available, they didn't put DJ Chester in at right tackle. They stuck with Kern at right tackle. Here was Brian Kelly Monday when I asked him why.
Because what we saw in the first half, essentially, I think if there were major issues, Matt, Brad and I would have probably made a decision there to make the change. But we felt like Karius was giving us good energy. He was protecting our edge really well in the passing game. There were a couple of mistakes inside out, which we expected that was going to happen. But by and large, we felt like let's let the young guy play. And that was kind of our sense.
Last week, when Brian Kelly met with reporters, he drew a comparison with Kern to Emory Jones as a freshman. And if you remember what happened, Emory didn't start the first game. He came in rotation in the second game. I believe that it was against Southern in the second game. And by the third game, which I think was Mississippi State, he was starting. And it just got to the point where they looked around and realized, look, man, he's going to make some mistakes, but he's athletic, he's physical, and you'd rather him make those mistakes, learn, and just keep getting better because the ceiling's so high. And they got to the point where it was eventually just the reality that he was one of your best 5 offensive linemen. And I kind of get the sense that that's where they're trending right now with Karius Kern. For what it's worth, on the season so far, if you look at blocking grades through 5 games on the season, Josh Thompson, like pass blocking, Thompson, Mabenga, Kern. That's on the season so far. It's just, and I know it hasn't been great at times. It's actually been pretty bad at times across the board for the offensive line. I think aside from Braylon Moore has been your best guy. You're looking for your best 5. And I think what we're seeing is Kern is sort of vying for that spot to be considered among the best 5. And maybe that's Weston Davis's spot at right tackle. Maybe that's Paul Mabenga's spot at left guard. I don't know, but I do believe this weekend will be very telling. Because they, always say, actions speak louder than words. Brian Kelly can tell us there's no competition at right tackle. It's Weston Davis's job. They can tell us they like Kern at tackle instead of guard, whatever. But at Chester is the 6th man. He's the first one up at any spot. When you had the opportunity to put Chester in on the road against Ole Miss, you didn't. You stuck with Kern. That is way more illustrative than anything he says. So Carius Kern this week and moving forward becomes a fascinating figure on this team because it is very clear your weakest unit is your offensive line. It is your worst unit on the team. And I don't even know that that's debatable. And if you're looking for how do you improve it, well, if the young 5-star can get in there and start moving bodies and give you some athleticism, either at guard or tackle, and make you better, you're going to make that move. And I do think before this season's over, we're going to see Carius Kern become a starter on this offensive line. The question is where. And Brian Kelly saying they have flexibility to play him at guard or tackle is telling that they're considering ways to get him on the field. And as I understand, Paul Mabenga's ankle sprain, and Brian Kelly said today that he's questionable. I was told last week that Mabenga's ankle sprain is maybe a little severe, and that of all the guys injured, that's the one they're most concerned about being ready for South Carolina. And if you're looking going on, if you don't have Mabenga, do you want Eccles? Do you want Kern? Eccles has more reps at guard. Kern's the better player with a higher upside. Something to watch as we go through this week is what they do with Carius Kern and across that offensive line. We'll, of course, follow it right here. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Honest to goodness, true story. I'm at Rouse's today buying Evermore, seriously, and I'm in the checkout line, and a lady behind me says, I love that your shoes match your shirt. And I was like, don't think that was by accident. And she goes, oh, I know. I'll listen to you all the time. Shout out. Her name is Lori, I asked. And she said, and you know what she said to me? She said, yep, Thursday I'll be over at the Williamson Eye Center. I'm getting LASIK because of you. Told my husband to do it for 5 years. He had to listen to you for 5 years, tell him, finally went and did it. So her husband had LASIK, and now she's going Thursday to have LASIK. And she asked me if I was going to tell the story on air. I said, if you tell me your name, I will. And she told me her name was Lori. So shout out to Lori, a new patient at the Williamson Eye Center who's going to have LASIK this Thursday. You should do like Lori, like her husband, like Paul O'Neill, like I did, and call the Williamson Eye Center. You want to ditch your contacts and glasses forever? Call 924-2020. No matter your age or your refractive issue, they've got a procedure available to you to let you see 20/20 without contacts and glasses. Ditch those readers. Stop squinting at the screen. Call 924-2020. 924-2020 or go to williamsoneye.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Go around the SEC. When we come back, I'm used, Paulie and I, every Thursday, we tell you 3 things we're watching for the football weekend. We come back on Monday, tell you how it went. We call it what we learned. We'll get to that here in about 15 minutes. Peter Burns, half an hour from right now. A ton to do. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Monday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Want to feel your best? Who doesn't, right? Sometimes you don't even know how bad you feel until you start feeling good again. And Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness helps men do just that every single day. And I'm not just talking about ED. Yes, they do ED treatments. Pills and lots of other different treatments as well. If you're suffering from ED, they can help you. But they do so much more than that. Hormone replacement therapy is a massive part of their business. No human is exempt. As we age, our body produces less of the hormones and contribute to how we feel. You can safely, affordably supplement to get to healthy levels so you start feeling like your younger self again. And that's only where the magic begins. They have so many other treatments and therapies for things like muscle repair and recovery and hormonal imbalance and anxiety and sleep. I'm telling you, if you want to feel your best, live your optimal life, you need Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Is the speed at the bottom of the screen. Pressure's coming. Dort doesn't see it. Granderson untouched and a flag is down.
I mean, one of the worst calls I've ever seen. And I was in the building for the Nola no call. Bronson Bridges on the text line. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Bronson said, can you please explain why Carl Granderson got penalized for his sack? No, Bronson, I can't. Kellen Moore was asked the same thing on Monday.
I saw a sack. Yeah, it's disappointing just because obviously you're trying to educate your players, and when you don't feel like as a coach you have an answer to help educate your players on how to play the game, that's frustrating because obviously you coach to give those guys the best chance to be successful, and obviously it's going to be a great opportunity for us to learn ultimately whatever the opinion of that play is because it's a frustrating play when you do so much good, and that's a frustrating one as a coach. You feel like you're helpless in that situation.
It came in a key situation late in the game as the Saints were protecting a 2-score lead and trying to put the game away. And this effectively would have done it, not to mention other things that a lot of people mention, like you have incentives, for sacks and different things like that in contracts, which I don't know that this impacts Granderson. Maybe by the end of the season it could. I don't know his contract, but there's a lot of things like that baked in that matter very much. I had a listener say that he had a prop bet on an anytime sack. So he lost an anytime sack prop bet. I'm not suggesting that the officials called that in any way that it was nefarious to do with betting or anything like that. It's just an atrocious call. So can I explain? No, I can't, because I don't know. I know I'm not saying anything different than any of you think or thought or saw or said. I don't know what else there is to say. The one thing that you look for in those moments are leading with the crown of the helmet, which he did not do, helmet-to-helmet contact of a defenseless player, which did not happen, and landing your full body weight on the quarterback, which is the other red flag, because it's sort of the Aaron Rodgers. Remember when Rodgers broke his collarbone when the defender landed on him, and the league is going to go to great lengths to protect quarterbacks, which I get it. I mean, they're your money makers. They're the attraction, and you need those guys. Yeah, look at what's happened with Cincinnati. I mean, not that there was a dirty play or anything with Burrow. Just look at the interest level in Cincinnati with Burrow, without Burrow. It's just look at what happened with the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. That's really because the rest of the Ravens are bums and they couldn't. Coop did all he could. I mean, look, my guy went out there and played his best. But when you got a team of bums around you, what more can you do? Right?
They're real bad. The Ravens have won the division the last 2 or so years.
Hey,
doorstep of a Super Bowl. They're horrible.
4-10. Here's my question, Muse. Did Coop give up 44 points?
No, but he only contributed to scoring 10.
That's right. That Ravens defense, that awful Ravens defense, gave up 44. Not my guy Coop.
Yeah.
Pick him up, Ravens. You stink.
What about the no touchdowns and 3 picks?
Anyway, the point being that I understand protecting quarterbacks in the league, but Granderson did nothing wrong. He didn't land on the quarterback. He did everything you're taught to do, right? He made contact and then fell off to the side. It's a beautiful play. I mean, it is beautiful. There's nothing. I don't know. Bronson asked why. I don't know why. I will be very interested, needless to say, to hear what the league rules on that, because if that is in fact a foul, then I really don't know how you coach. He didn't go low. Remember the other going low? You can't go low at a quarterback around his feet. That was because of the Brady. Wasn't it Haloti Ngata? Wasn't it Ngata who? Maybe I'm someone with the Bengals, wasn't it? When Brady had his knee torn up in 2008. I think it might have been Ngata. I can't remember who it was. Look that up. Who went low on Brady? It wasn't Ngata. Ngata was with the Ravens. Who was it? Anyway, it was someone with the Bengals. But anyway, then that's when the rule changed. So you couldn't go low on quarterbacks. You can't go low on quarterbacks. You can't go high on quarterbacks. You can't land on quarterbacks. I get it, but Granderson did everything you're supposed to do in that situation. Who was it?
Bernard Pollard. It was against the Chiefs.
It's the Chiefs.
It was the Chiefs, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
Chiefs
the Bengals.
DB Bernard Pollard.
No, it was not a DB. It was a defensive lineman.
Well,
No. It was 2008 when Brady tore his ACL. It was definitely a defensive lineman that went low on him. Anyway, find it. We'll get to it. But I'm almost positive it was Cincinnati.
This is the game you're talking about. It ended his torn ACL and MCL that ended Brady's 2008 season against the Chiefs.
I'm almost positive.
He was a safety. So
I'm almost positive there was a play with a Bengals defensive lineman that went low on him. Anyway, I'll find what I'm talking about. The point being, I don't know what else Granderson could have done differently. Let's wait and see what the league says, because that was textbook. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. Remember, kill mold, remove odor. Tons of rain last night. If you had water intrusion, you've probably had water intrusion now up to this point. So you probably have a good chance you have mold in your house. We live in the mold capital of the world. It's wet and humid, breeding ground for mold. Have mold or think you might? Parish Restoration can help. They'll come spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll close up all the windows, the doors. They'll let it dwell, kill everything down to the spores. No more effective way and no more cost-effective way of killing mold and other harmful pathogens than Parish Restoration. ParishRestoration.com. ParishRestoration.com. Right there on the homepage, you'll see Garrett Nussmeier's testimonial as well. Did an NIL deal with Parish after they treated his home. ParishRestoration.com. Again, ParishRestoration.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Texas Longhorns.
Texas running back Quintravian Wisner re-injured his hamstring in Texas's loss at Florida. Scored on a 1-yard touchdown run with 3 minutes to go in the game as he left the field of play. He was kind of reaching for his hamstring. He is questionable right now for the game this Saturday against Oklahoma.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky coach Mark Stoops disputes the idea that he wants to be bought out of his contract. Said, quote, "I hate to give anything like that legs. There's zero chance I'm walking away. There's no quit in me." Longest tenured coach in the SEC in his 13th season there in Lexington, 69 and 76 overall.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols cornerback Jamad McCoy has said more to go before he returns from a knee injury, according to Josh Heupel. He's an all-SEC junior cornerback coming off of off-season knee surgery. Too early right now after the torn ACL he suffered in January. He was initially targeting Saturday's game against Arkansas, but it seems like it's going to be later than that.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Kirby Smart updated injuries on several players, including Jordan Hall, Monroe Freeling, and Ernest Green after the win over Kentucky. Hall dealing with patella tendonitis. How about that? It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Patella tendonitis and the toe.
And don't forget the toe.
Can't forget a toe. Starting left tackle Monroe Freeling went down with a left leg injury. Offensive tackle Ernest Green missed the last 3 games with an injury, working his way back.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn and Baylor will play in Atlanta. They're moving that game for 2026 into the kickoff game. It'll be played September the 5th. It'll count as Auburn's home game as part of the series with the Bears.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
4-star 2027 quarterback Keegan Croucher has committed to Ole Miss. 4-star quarterback picked the Rebs over Penn State and Oregon. He's the number 12 quarterback in the country for 2027.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
2026 offensive tackle target Jared Doty has committed to the Crimson Tide. He was in town for the Vandy game this past weekend. He's the number 76 offensive tackle in the country for 2026. 6'6", 300-pounder. He's the 22nd commit for Bama's class.
The Missouri Tigers.
Mizzou landed a commitment from 4-star running back Terry Hodges. Picked Mizzou over Auburn, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Oklahoma State. The 14th commit for Mizzou's 2026 class.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Page was sticking together. Arkansas lost another prospect for the 2026 class, of course, after Sam Pittman's been fired. They're down to 15 now after running back Jordan Avinger decommitted. 6'3", 225. It's a big running back. 6'3", 225. He'd been with the Hogs since August 1st. Has an offer from East Carolina as well to play linebacker. How about that? Don't see the running back linebacker combo very often, do you? There you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com, servicing the whole state, really all along the Gulf Coast. Check them out, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you 3 things. This is what I was thinking of. It wasn't against Cincinnati. It was Carson Palmer for Cincinnati, who was injured on a similar play, and that might have been Haloti Ngata, who went low against him from the Ravens. That may be what I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm crossing wires here. But I think that was the play with Carson Palmer getting injured by Ngata of the Ravens. If maybe all that stuff's just jumbling in my brain right now. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick. Did you find it? It's okay. Don't worry. we're not going to quick break. Come back. We'll do what we learned from the weekend next here on AFR.
AFR.
Ah, what a great time of year. It's October. It's the month of pumpkins. It's the month of Halloween. It's a great time to decorate your home, your office, that front porch, back patio, and the best place to go is Clegg's Nursery. Yes, they've got all your fall decor. They've got all the setups, the displays in all 4 locations: Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Dedham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. And I love to tell you always to bypass the big box stores. Bypass the big orange or blue box store and shop local. Go support a great local business that supported our community for 60 years. Get your pumpkins and your hay bales and your squash and your gourds and your fall bedding plants and your fall flowers. And when it's time to put those trees in the ground, get them from Clegg's because they've got the best selection, the best people, and they are local. So get by any of those 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you into Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And we do shutters too.
Okay, we got to the bottom of it. So it was Carson Palmer who was injured in a playoff game in the 2005 season, second snap, by Kimo von Oelhoffen of the Steelers. I erroneously charged Haloti Ngata. I knew it was a defensive lineman from one of those, the black and blue division, who got a quarterback low and tore up his ACL, but it was Kimo von Oelhoffen. That was 2005 season, January 2006. And then Brady in the 2008 season got hurt in the season opener, and that's whenever they changed all. Well, this is all stemming from the Granderson sack and how a lot of the rules have changed. If you're just joining, going like, why are you talking about a sack that happened 20 years ago? Well, that's why. Okay, something that didn't happen 20 years ago, but just over the weekend, was a lot of football. And Muse, Paulie, and I on Thursday tell you what to watch, and then we come back and we recap. So let's do it.
We watched. Now, let's review.
Muse?
Yeah, man. So the first one we were looking out for was potential hangover for Georgia and Penn State. Georgia, they never trailed. Penn State, they lost and got dominated in the first half by a winless UCLA team. James Franklin, yikes, brother.
Texas, Florida. Florida knocks off the Longhorns. DJ Lagway threw for a season-high 289 yards. Dallas Wilson make his college debut.
How about him?
He was good.
Six catches, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
The 55-yarder was pretty insane. Arch struggled a little bit. Big questions on Texas offense.
And maybe LSU's win over Florida looks better now. Huh?
A little bit.
No. I wanted to know if the Patriots were any good. They were 2-2. They had beaten Miami and Carolina, which is not impressive. They lost the Raiders and the Steelers, which made you go, huh? And so Sunday Night Football primetime at the Bills would tell you, and my goodness, New England went up there, got the win against Buffalo, team that all of a sudden has a very suspect defense right now. But really gutty win there by Mike Vrabel's crew. And now they come to the Dome.
Of course, we were watching our unranked teams over the ranked teams. Cincinnati, they came through, got up 31-7, held on late for the 8-point win. Louisville, not impressive at all at home. Good win for Virginia, though, man. That was a really nice win for Tony Elliott's club.
Overtime again.
Yeah, again, 2 weeks in a row. How about that?
I was watching the debut of Browns quarterback Dylan Gabriel. He went 19 for 33, threw for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did find 8 different receivers and had good connections with his tight ends. David Njoku and Harold Fannin combined for 10 catches and caught both of Gabriel's touchdowns.
Wanted to know if Texas A&M was on upset alert against Mississippi State. Yeah, they were. It was 7-3 at half. Bulldogs were hanging in there. Came up with a nice goal line stand. It ended 31-9. A&M's defense is pretty good, and Mississippi State got wore out. How about the Aggies? 5-0, ranked 5th in the country right now.
I wanted to watch Jaden Daniels return after missing the last 2 weeks with a knee sprain against the Chargers. He was awesome. 231 through the air, a touchdown. Knee looked good, too. 39 yards rushing. Big win for the Commies.
The Bucs won a thriller in Seattle. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold combined to throw for over 720 yards. With just a combined 10 incompletions. Big days for Ohio State receivers Rebecca Buka, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. The Bucs linebacker Levante David picked off Sam Darnold with less than a minute to go. That set up the walk-off field goal for the Bucs.
And I didn't have a last one. There it is. That's what we learned. weekend. What?
Did you not? I thought you did.
I don't want to talk about it, Muse.
Okay. All right.
If Diego Pavia didn't turn the ball over in the red zone twice. I might have a different story here today.
2 times.
I might be sitting here in a Vanderbilt uniform today. Diego Pavia, go run your mouth and then fumble inside the 10, throw an interception at the 5. What are you doing? Turning the ball over inside the 10-yard. 2 red zone turnovers. Right there.
Yeah. And hey, Jam Miller, go down.
Oh. You knew it was going to happen, too. Knew it was going to happen.
Absolutely.
17 seconds. They're not taking a knee. They're going to run a play. They're just going to bust a touchdown. I'm going to lose this cover, huh? Hour 2 next. Peter Burns.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. I was over at Rouse's today. The Rouse's on Florida. Closest one to us here at Guarantee. Went and got one of those Mongolian bowls for lunch and a 4-pack of the 64-ounce bottles of Evermore. Find your favorite. It's a great place to go have lunch or dinner. I love the Mongolian bowls there. You want grab and go sushi. Of course, they've got the hot bar, the hot and boiled kiosk. They got the salad bar. You want to walk in and grab lunch every day from the office or pop on in and get dinner for everyone at the house you can. Or maybe want to throw something on the grill. Maybe you're preparing for your tailgate this weekend as the Tigers are back at home. Remember, they got everything you need for game day, from your chicken wing platters and your rib platters and your sandwich trays and the mini muffaletta trays, whatever it is, cheese, fruit. They got you covered, desserts, everything. All your beers and bourbons, they got everything for you at Rouse's. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.